you know, it's kind of, it can become very frustrating for any artist. Whereas with this record, from the very start, there were no outside influences, and it's only now it's been given fully packaged and pressed to Warner's, and you need distribution, proper promotion from a bigger company, really. Otherwise, you'll just, you know, it's very difficult, and it's too stressful to do it yourself. But there is a lack of interference on this record, and even the production is very. I left in all the creaks from the piano stool, and what you hear is pretty much. It's very.
There's some vinyl scratches at the beginning.
Yeah, I put those on because purely because my favourite records when I was young, my sister's record collections, everything from early Bowie, T-Rex, Simon and Garfunkel, the Beatles, Stones. I just always remember the crackle putting it on, and it always gave me a feeling of. We in my parents' old house. When I was young, we had this room, which was a music room really, and it always lighted a big fire. Even I was 8, 9 years old, I'd light a big fire in this room, and it was a cold room, it was a cold old house, and put on this old, way after they were out of date, we had this old Pi record player, it wasn't even stereo, and just putting on the needle, and it always gave me this warm feeling, and I thought, well, yeah, loads of people do this with records, but not with these types of records, mostly with like electronic or whatever.
Yeah, trip hop, I think, or hip hop.
Or hip hop, yeah.
Maybe new soul, some.
Yeah, but it's not something you expect from an intimate sort of semi-folk, slightly electronic folk album. So. Just when you put the needle on, for me, I did it in mastering. It just gives me a warm feeling. It takes me back to that room. So.
But the interesting thing is that it doesn't last. It's just
for the beginning and the end.
Just the really beginning and the end.
Yeah.
Not during the whole track.
No. No, it's just purely an introduction and an ending.
You still like electronic? There's some subtle ambient piece on this record.
Definitely. Something I'd love to do is work with. I'd love to work with Brian Eno. I'd really like to, and we have a mutual friend, Neil Conti, who drums with me sometimes live, and hopefully will drum with me again live. But they're close friends, and the problem with Brian Eno is, it's like probably buying a Rolls Royce. You have to book him 5 years in advance.
Yeah. I heard many stories about the way he works, but most of the time people said to me that he comes into the studio, he gives some instructions, and then he left to let engineers and musicians play the role of producers with you. So it can be a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I wouldn't allow that. You see, I'd be too hands-on. But there are other people I like. I like Benjamin Beela's production. I like the way he works, and I like Emily Siemens' production as well.
Yeah. You've done a duet.
I did a duet with her, a few years ago, but I really like the way she produces records. I like the way she uses electronica.
It's really homemade.
Yeah, it's something very. She just has her own sound. I think it'll be very interesting to see what she does later with her next record, because I think she's probably a lot more of a creative Bjork type than a typical pop star. I don't think she's typical for that, And it's not about her voice really, it's about her production values. I just think they're very interesting.
Are you cooking things slowly when you produce your sound? Is it some tiny elements that you're slowly mature?
It depends. On this album there was a lot of collaboration, because I had a fear of repeating myself. So on some songs like New Year's Wish, a lot of the keyboard parts were all Marco Savio and Toby Pittman together. And for the dulcimer, we didn't have a dulcimer, so we took my piano apart at home, and they took it apart and played it with forks. So it's a very... There was a lot of, I suppose, you know, things happening out of necessity, if you like, and primitive elements in this recording, which, if it sounds intimate, it's because it is. You know, I would we might finish at 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'd take a CD of what we had done that day, and I'd go for a drive before I go to bed. So I'd go for a drive for maybe an hour in the countryside in the middle of the night, listening to it in the car. And I'd come back, I'd sleep, and we'd start again at 11 or 12 the next day. We were recording in my house in Ireland, and we were like some big Italian family, Marco cooking pasta, and you know, it was a very intense period, but very rewarding.
Have you been influenced by your environment? I know that is a classic question, but sometimes musicians don't pay attention to the environment, and sometimes they are deeply influenced by it.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I love cities, I love visiting cities, but I love living in the countryside. It's very far away from the music industry, and it's very useful. It's there's a kind of a clarity, I suppose, I get from there, and it's really a very simple life. My girlfriend lives with me part of the week, and we, you know, it's really very far away from any kind of celebrity sort of life. It's simple. We go for walks and watch old movies. It's good.
The cover layout, I think, fits perfectly the atmosphere of the record, and I had to go and seek some influence, some elements about the artist, which is an Irish photographer or painter.
He's Michael is a fine artist from Michael. I was very lucky to use his work. I saw an exhibition, and he lives quite close to my girlfriend, where she lives in County Sligo. And I saw his work, and he draws nothing but trees.
Yeah, I think he's mainly focused on trees.
Yeah.
And
his whole life's work is based on trees. And I just think there's a precision and a beauty to what he does that his work's quite expensive. I mean, his paintings or his drawings sell for 5,000-6,000 euros. So he's well respected in Ireland, but I wouldn't be surprised if his work gets out there in Europe now very soon. Because everybody who's seen it, it's perfect. It's just absolutely, the tree, it just works so well on the cover. And for me it was, I know if I was with, sometimes other record companies would, they want the artist on the cover.
Like the previous album.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't want any of that stuff, the idea of being on the cover is not for me. But this, definitely, there's something more special about being.
And the fact that the trees are without leaves, trees in winter, fits
very much.
Very much.
I think I'm very happy with the artwork. It's very simple, it fits the whole thing works together. And I'll be shooting 1 or 2 videos, and there's a video I'm working on for these young dudes, and it's very special. I'm barely in it, just a cameo, but it's in black and white, and it's very much in the same world as the artwork. And even the new website is based on the tree, where you go inside the tree. The website's being redesigned at the moment, so that it's definitely got its own cocoon now, which I'm very happy with.